Yo, welcome everyone once again to the We Are Gamers series. My name is your host, Champ Tone, aka Psychosis, a gamer with a passion for Jesus and gaming. And it is a true pleasure once again to grace your space this day. Today we have the honor and privilege of another 1v1 series with a person who is a great retro gaming streamer who I have seen plays so many classics as she streams, and they just touch all the nostalgia points. Seeing them have the same issues I used to have, especially growing up trying to play these same games. And she is a wonderful person. She is a philanthropist for many fur babies as well. And she has a Twitch channel. Her Twitch channel is twitch.tv/GameMistress. Allow me to introduce the Game Mistress herself. Welcome, Mistress.
Thank you so much for the warm welcome and thank you for having me. How are you doing today?
I am good. I am good. We did have a mix up with the time because our guest today is from across the way, and apparently with all the daylight savings times, and we were discussing all the nuances behind that. But thank you. Welcome. I'm glad you were able to participate in this. It is an honor and privilege to have you here. Thank you.
It's an honor to be here. Thank you so much for having me on your show.
All right. So let's start it off. So if you could just give us please your first name and what is the actual online gamer tag that you usually use online for most of your games or your streaming even?
All right, so my real name is Teresa, so it's Theresa. A lot of people get my name wrong because it's an Italian name I have.
Oh, really?
And
That's
yeah, my
interesting.
name it's Italian because my German family actually came from Italy, while
Mhm.
my English family is unknown because we have really mixed up DNA in our family. You can say we've been all over the place.
All right.
So my gamer tag, I have actually quite a few. So Game Mistress is actually just my company's name. So basically for my socials, my YouTube, my Twitch, my Instagram, my Twitter, etc. My real gaming tag is
Mm.
actually Crystal or Holy Crystal, which is basically a holy paladin I used to play in MMO games and stuff, and I just kept to that tag.
Oh. Oh, okay. What? So how do they pronounce Teresa? I'm curious about that because the way I pronounce Teresa is Teresa.
Yes.
So how?
So
Mhm.
they do it the Irish way. Did they say like Teresa? Like there's almost an O in it, but there isn't. And in Norwegian they say Teresa. So they do in Germany as well, but they don't have it with the A ending. We just say Teresa instead, which is completely wrong because that's not my name. But yeah, so everyone gets my name wrong actually.
Really? I've said it right, Mistress Teresa,
Yes.
right? That's how I know to say it. That's interesting. But again, that's just I guess the different cultures around the world they pronounce names and everything so much different. So which is the way that you don't like to be preferred? That you hear it and you're like, ugh, that is not my name.
When I was a kid, I used to complain about Teresa, like when they replace the A with an E. I'm like, that is actually not my name. My name is Teresa or Teresa. That's actually the correct way to pronounce my name. But to be honest, today I just don't care
Mm.
anymore. I've like just gotten used to like, you know what? I'm going to make that person's life easy. I'm not going to give them a problem for doing that
I hear
because that's
you.
how their culture pronounces it. I have this. So some people just call me by the letter T, just like
Mm.
that, or
Just
Tess.
okay. Okay. So I'm just gonna use Game Mistress, that's how I know you. That is interesting though, the way it's different pronounced. All right, so the crystal name though, does that name have any special meaning for you though? Like why would you choose that particular name for your handle?
So Crystal was a name I used since I was 16 years old. I was like, I don't know what character to play, what to call her. And then me and a good friend of mine said, well, do you like gemstones? I said, yeah, you know what? Crystal's actually an old English name. I'm going to call my character Crystal. Plus, she's a paladin. She does good things. So that's a good name. That's going to be her name.
Mm.
The end.
Okay. And that one's hard to mess up. I mean, crystal is crystal in almost
People still mess it up. It's so funny, and they're like
no.
they put a H in it, or they put it instead of the K, they replace it with the C, like they call it after the gemstone or the material. So no, it's crystal with a
Oh,
K because
right.
it's an old English name.
Where does
So
the
if you
H
have,
come from?
I don't know. I really don't know. Maybe because some
That's
people use CH as Christine. This is just a guess of mine.
Oh yes. Okay, I guess. That's just so odd. The age out of nowhere. That's very interesting. All right, so you do a lot of heavy retro gaming, and which is amazing. I love seeing it. So if you don't mind, if you can tell us your age or your age bracket approximately of what age you are, and when did you actually start gaming?
So I'm not afraid about my age. I was born in 1989
Mm.
and I started gaming at the age of 2. So I was actually 1991. I actually started gaming.
Wow, 2 years old. Do you remember what it was that you started playing?
Yes. So it was my mother. See, all the females in my family are hardcore gamers, which is really cool. So my mother
Really?
was taking care of me. We were sitting in the living room, and I was like really bored. My mom says, "Do you want to play on the NES?" I'm like, "Yes." What game do you want to play? The robot blaster. She meant, you mean Metroid? Samus is a woman, Teresa, not a robot. Like what? Okay, I want
That's
to play the
funny.
woman. I want to play the woman. So mom put in the super code where she runs out in the bikini or something and made the
Hmm.
game really easy for me because I had such troubles. I kept dying. So she used to help me out. And once I was bored with Metroid, she put in The Legend of Zelda 2, The Adventures of
Wow.
Link.
Wow, Metroid as a starting beginning game is not the easiest game to start with. Oh my goodness. So you started with that and that was a great game. I mean, have you so that game particular that was your starting game. Have you played all the other Metroid series? I mean, I know you played Super Metroid. I've seen you
I
play that.
have played every single Metroid besides the original Game Boy one, which was The Return of Samus. I've played the remake one, but I've played every single Metroid game after that.
Wow. Wow. That's something. So what was it that actually drew you? Because you seemed really excited. You seemed like you wanted to play. What was it that drew you to actually want to play them?
I used to watch my sister play it, and she got mad when I tried to play it. So when she was gone, my mother gave me the NES, and I just had a lot of fun. I loved the concept of the high scores when I was a kid. I'm like,
Hmm.
oh my goodness, I want to do this better. I want to do this faster. And that's why today I can play Alien Soldier no problem because it's a very easy game for me.
That's interesting. That is so interesting. So your family was was very, I guess, supportive of your gaming. I mean, you said the next question is actually like, what was your family's reaction when you started gaming? And you said it. Your mom was just like, here, you want to play, and how did that as they saw your drive to want to keep playing, how did you respond? I mean, how did they respond to your drive to want to keep playing?
We responded by playing games together, and when it became Christmas, my mom and dad bought my very own gaming console for me I can have in the living room away from my sister, which was the Mega Drive, because they knew I loved Sonic the Hedgehog. So that is like, I want to spend quality time with my daughter. When I'm not
Hmm.
working, we're going to play video games together because that's an interest we all can get along besides going outside, walking in nature, biking in
Hmm.
the mountains. So that was like a family get together activity where we just had fun blasting
Yeah.
through the video games.
Yeah. That is so good to hear because for me growing up, gaming was not something that was, I guess, encouraged or cherished.
Yeah.
And I was when I was young, and so just so you know, I'm actually 43 right now. So my gaming stemmed. I started gaming in the late 80s into the early 90s, and especially in the early 90s when there was like the golden age of gaming. You had the Nintendo to Super Nintendo with the Genesis, and they just hated it. And hearing how much your family enjoy. I mean, have you? How has been your experience though? Has that seemed like a normal trend among people you know, or is it the opposite where people are surprised to hear that your family was so much into the gaming with you as you were?
I mean, all our friends, so we had a circle of friends. We just all played video games. Sometimes he had the person like, it's a waste of time,
Mm,
but we just didn't hang out with those people. My family will focus on being with positive people with same interests. And
mm-hmm,
they always said to me, never ever put yourself down because someone did that. Find people you resonate to. Because my parents are also pretty spiritual in that belief. So they
mm,
said,
mm,
find the people you belong with, find your own tribe. If people are going to be nasty about, you can tell them to go away.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And, absolutely, I hear that, and it's wild though. Now, even with I guess the culture, because you stream a lot, so you get a lot of people in your stream, and I know. and I've heard this from different people, but these are mostly people here in the States. I know in the States is one thing, but out there where you're at, across the way in Europe, how is so this next question, just give us a little background about your own personal culture and your heritage.
So, I don't belong to one country as you gather because
Mm.
my DNA is very mixed. So basically, I was born in Germany, raised as
Mm.
an English woman. I lived in Norway for 20 plus years. I've lived in Norway. I now live in Sweden. I lived in the Netherlands. I lived all around the place. And the people who I've been with have always been positive to gaming. Of course, you had the parents who were like, you shouldn't be playing too much because of homework, which is fair enough. That's fair. They were looking out. But the people I've
Mm.
been with, so we didn't have console wars where I was from because gaming consoles were so expensive. So let's just say my best friend had a Super Nintendo. Instead of saying, the Mega Drive is poo, he said, let's trade consoles. And we did that. He had my Mega Drive, I had the Super Nintendo. My
Oh
neighbor had a
wow.
PlayStation.
Hmm.
He said, come on, Tracer, I'm going to go and play Sonic at your place. Then you visit me, we can play Crash Bandicoot
Hmm.
or whatever he had. And his father's like, oh, you kids like gaming? Well, I got something more epic. He opened the cupboard and there was a complete Commodore 64. He put it on. He said,
Wow.
go on, kids. This is true gaming, not the PlayStation, but the Commodore. So, yeah, we're all gamers.
That's a great story. He pulled it out. He had the relics. He opened up the
Yep.
closet and had the relics. Oh my goodness. And that's interesting too because I've also seen you have a collection yourself,
Yep.
don't you, right? Like I've seen, and you've actually restored and repaired or tried to repair some systems even though sometimes they're just damaged beyond repair, but you've actually opened them up and have like fine-tuned them, cleaned them up. That always interests me because I love when you do that because you open it up, you get inside, you know how the system works. You know how the system works so much. And yeah, I love when you do that. That's just so amazing. But so with all that said though, I mean, your culture, and where you lived and where you grew up, has that have any positive or negative impact on your personal gaming experience?
So, haha, time to throw Norway under the bus there. When we moved to Norway, for some reason, the big companies didn't believe in Norway because only had like 3 million people when we lived there. So
Mm.
I wanted the Sega Dreamcast and Sonic Adventure because my parents knew I loved Sonic more than anything.
Mm.
So my mother went to all the gaming stores. My daughter wants Sonic Adventure. Like, what's that? So no,
Mm.
I'm serious. This is a video game. Here's a Game Master magazine. Is it on the N64? No, this game doesn't exist. I was heartbroken.
He
So
said the game
because
doesn't exist.
yes, and the
Wow.
console doesn't exist. And somebody said to me a few months ago, only 1,000 copies was sold in Norway by one company, but then they gave up on it. So it actually was never released in Norway. And I was heartbroken. And I was heartbroken for years because emulation wasn't really a thing back then. I mean, computers were
Mm.
super expensive. So I told
Hmm.
my sorrows to my sister when she moved over. And she told her my story to her boyfriend or ex-husband back then. He was a hardcore developer for Funcom, a very big gaming company in
Wow.
Norway.
Yes. Yes. I remember Funcom. Yes.
So one day he phones me up. He says, Teresa, come now. We have an emergency. You must get to our house ASAP. And I'm like, Mom, my sister needs me for some reason. Her husband's on the phone. So we jump into the car. And outside the house, my sister and her husband were waiting for me. They said,
Hmm.
come in. We have to show
Hmm.
you. And there was a Sega Dreamcast set up for Sonic Adventure.
Oh my goodness! And you were like, "This is the best emergency ever."
Yeah, the boss from Funcom heard the story and he's like, well, I'm going to Sweden because they were selling in Sweden back then, but we had stupid import prices. So he said, you
Mm.
know what? You take our Dreamcast, have fun with it, and give it to your sister in law.
Wow, that is amazing. That is amazing. All these stories are so amazing. Like the gaming culture that you were a part of was just so supportive of everything you did. That is so great. Oh my goodness. I love hearing stories like this cuz
Me too.
here in the States, I don't know, it's just I don't know if it was a generational thing. A lot of people saw it as a waste of time. Even though because so I'm a father, I have children, and I see it as such a great I guess building experience with your children,
Yeah.
working together. doing, and it's just fun because you're spending time with them. It's and then there's now pathways to actual. So the way I grew up, I'm Hispanic, I'm Puerto Rican. So if it didn't make you money, it was a waste of time. That's
Yes, I
basic.
heard that. I heard that a lot. My
Mm,
husband's parents had that philosophy as well. Like, why be a game? It's a
mm-hmm,
waste of time. Blah de
mm-hmm,
blah.
mm-hmm.
I'm like, wow, you guys are narrow-minded. I'm sorry.
From and these are the same people that would sit in front of a TV and watch TV for hours, but yet you playing a video game which stimulates your brain, you can do with other people and is more interactive somehow was a way. Yeah, I agree. I've never understood that mentality. If I can say, okay, you like this or that, like say baseball. I think baseball is not the most fun sport to watch, but I
Mm,
understand people enjoy watching it, and that's fine. I'm not going to tell them you're wasting your life because you're watching a game, watching something that I think is a waste of time. You
indeed.
you know what I mean? Like I've never understood that sort of mentality at all. And that's something that happened also with the console wars. I remember you brought that up. Like why is it a big deal that cuz me and my friends were kind of the same way. If somebody had so someone would have the Genesis, whereas the Master Drive, and then someone else would have, I remember one person had a Dreamcast, and then another person had the PS2, the N64. So they were all the houses we went to, but we went together.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, oh man, my console is better than yours. It's like, oh, can we go to your house? Because I remember for the Dreamcast, we would play a game called Power Stones. Crazy game.
Oh yeah, yeah, I know that one.
Yeah, and that game was amazing because I think it was a three-player free for all on a three-dimensional grid. Crazy game, so much fun. And then we would go to someone else's house. They would have an N64 because I grew up I I grew up rather poor and sort of so where I used to hang out was considered the ghetto of New York. It's a place called Bushwick, and you know, friends didn't have every console. We did not have no one had every console. Everyone had one, but everyone had a different one. So we understood, let's be friends. Yeah, I don't understand that mentality. But you experience with streaming too, no? I mean, that mentality of what you're doing being a waste and stuff like that. Is it really prevalent for you or no?
Sorry, what do you mean prevalent? Like,
Like do you experience it? People just being negative towards, I guess, what you're doing in your streaming, or have you ever experienced that? Maybe in the
so
beginning of
when
your streaming? Go ahead.
so when I became a streamer, I told my parents straight away. I
Mhm.
mean, my parents are divorced.
Mm.
My mom said, "Oh my God, you streamer! I couldn't be more proud of my daughter. That's amazing. You revived Game Mistress. Your company is back." Yes, I phoned up and I told my dad. He's like, "My daughter's a champion gaming. You show the world what you're made of. You can do
Mm.
this." Even though my father didn't really understand him, he's like, "Why should I watch you play games? I can play games myself." But my mother was 100% behind me and
Mm.
still is today. She actually watches my streams and all my YouTube videos.
That's
And
great.
she talks to my community. She's actually in my Discord talking to people. It's really nice.
Mm.
And my sister thinks it's cool as well. But yes, I've also met people who are negative, like a woman saying, "Oh, you can just sit there in front of the computer, earn money. I should film my naked feet." I'm like, "You idiot. That's
Well,
not how it works."
the thing is, she can and would probably make money off of it.
Probably yes, but she would not get a very healthy audience on her.
Yes, that is true. But that's what's funny. You can actually do that and probably make a killing. Oh my goodness, that's that. But isn't that kind of sad? I mean, that's kind of the whole purpose of why I started doing this, because there's still a lot of people who have this negative connotation of people who play video games,
Oh,
and
it's even worse when you're a woman because I never
mm,
noticed this in Germany or
mm,
England, but
mm,
or the Netherlands. But when I moved to Norway, women don't play video games. You should be in the kitchen. I'm like, you do know the best chef in the
wow,
world is a man, right? You can shut up, you small-minded person. So people used to say, "Oh, you're into women. You're probably a dude as a girl." And I used to what I did as revenge. I would gank them in the games they bullied me, and then I would read my voice like, "Hi, you got your butt kicked by a woman," and people would bully that person for
and
that. I
and
mean, you
they
shouldn't bully people because I feel both
yes,
genders, or all genders, sorry, are
hmm
very good in video games. Gender has nothing to do with it.
And it's so weird how people, and I even now, even to this day, some, especially guys, they lose their minds when they hear a woman either on comms or in their video game. It's like a switch, because
Yeah.
I've experienced this, and that bugs me out. It's like a switch. They don't know how to act. They start, right, they start bullying the female who they're speaking to on the comms, and it's like, what do you hope? Why are you doing this? What is wrong with you? Are you okay? Is there do you need a hug or something? Because you are very angry right now just because she's a girl who's playing a video game. My goodness.
I don't understand what's going on with people's minds.
Mm.
It's like they have this toxic masculinity vibe going on. Or I call it small PP energy, if you like, because I don't want to say anything rude in your podcast. Like, I'm like, look, no matter what gender, every
Mm.
gender plays video games. Get over yourself. You. Plus, it was your mother that gave birth to you, so you should really have more respect towards women. Your mother carried you for 9 months. She was in agony and pain, and when
It's
you came
true.
out of her, it was painful. So the least you can do is be very grateful that women actually want to play with you. Because
Mm.
if you're gonna act like it's a woman online, you're not dating material. I'm sorry.
And you want to hear something funny? That was so my mentality. I was like, I wish I could find a girl who played video games. That would be amazing. Like I was growing up, and I had friends who played video games, and when the female would play, they were almost afraid. We had like clubs in school, and whenever a female like wanted to play, people would give her a hard time. And I never, I'm sorry, I've never understood this. I mean, I've never understood bullying, period. But to bully a female who's good, and I'm not just talking about trying, I'm talking about some, if they're skilled, it seems to get worse, which
Yeah.
is a very strange, right? I mean,
I never understood. I never understood why. Because some of the top esport players today are women.
mm, mm-hmm,
I don't
mm-hmm,
understand why there's this weird gender division in video games. Like, why are we dividing? Shouldn't we just all not just celebrate that everyone loves video games and we can do it together as a family? Because what these toxic people are doing, they're making sure that the opposite sex won't have interest or they're staying hidden. Because I know a lot of women who say to me, I
mm,
wouldn't dare to stream or I don't dare to go on voice because
mm-hmm,
I'm going to
mm-hmm,
get bullied to death. What's the advice? I said, do yourself a favor, get a best friend to join you, even better from the opposite sex, like a man to join
mm,
you to protect you from
mm-hmm,
these horrible people. Always go in group, don't go in alone.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And that's unfortunate because I'm sure there's probably so many great voices, people out there that would have an amazing stream, an amazing session, and you have these people who are just, and so when you I want to ask you this: when you started streaming, did you experience any of that yourself? Being a
I
Mhm,
experienced sexual harassment when I started streaming. I was
mm,
playing Minecraft for the first time. Somebody said, "Show me your boobs." I'm like, yeah,
okay,
get out of here. Okay, well, because they're like, women shouldn't be playing games. They should be there enticing the men. I'm like, what the heck is wrong with you?
I know this
So
isn't
that was my first experience once I put the webcam on. They saw I was a woman. Then like
wow.
they started with all that disgusting behavior, and sadly, my DMs is flooded with that crap every day.
Still, you still experience this now, even
Yes,
being a little established as you are. I am so sorry
since
about that. That sucks.
since I have grown, I've gotten more creeps on me. And so
Mm,
I've even gotten people contacting me in my business emails asking if they can pay me up to $10,000 for naked pictures. And I said, if you went into a bar and you asked a woman,
mm.
hey, do you work for sexual service? She's going to beat you up and phone the cops on you because that's sexual harassment. And the person's like, oh my God, you're right. I'm so sorry. I didn't realize that. I said, how can you not realize this?
If they didn't
It's a,
realize, oh my god,
that's just bad.
they really say that after you like shut them down. They actually say, oh, they apologize and say they didn't. Wow,
Yeah.
that is absolutely absurd. My goodness, my goodness. So you, that sucks. That sucks. All right, so let's go to this next question. So you still stream, you still play video games. Why do you choose to play video games even now?
because I love to play video games and I love to share people, my childhood. So basically, when I'm playing retro games,
Mm,
I'm sharing my experience, how it was for me as a child to play through these moments, these memories. So basically, I'm just sharing my happy memories with an audience. That's how I see it. I just want people to sit and chat like, oh my goodness, I used to play that game. How cool. I
mm-hmm,
didn't even know it
mm-hmm,
was possible to play retro consoles on modern PCs. Yes, it is.
mm,
I just like to educate people. And I think gaming brings people together. But I actually do more than just gaming these days. I also host my own shows where we talk about mental health, chronic illnesses, and the challenges living with that, because that's another
mm,
underappreciated group of people and where
mm-hmm,
people just
mm-hmm.
have no tolerance for. So I just
Yeah.
want to educate and make people happy. That's why I do what I do.
Mm. Yeah, you had a great show yesterday too with the health and speaking about the allergies and stuff. And it's sad though because there is a lot of, I guess, what's the word? It's on the tip of my,
Stigmatization?
not stigma. It's the opposite of knowledge. A lot of, wow, I can't think of the word.
Misconception?
Misconception, ignorance
Yeah,
about,
ignorance.
that's the word, about allergies, about, people's health, why they chose to do different things. Like you spoke about even the restaurants, not serving food, and getting annoyed that someone would say, "Oh, I can't have chicken." They're like, "What's wrong with you? Why can't you have chicken? Everyone else can have chicken." You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Or why can't I have milk? Why don't you want these things? Oh, and in an industry that's about service, people get upset about having to change the way they serve you. Little things. I mean, it's a little inconvenience, yeah. So the cook has to withdraw some of the ingredients, and I mean, even in the game community, just showing any type of common sense, depending on the game you play, or any sort of, wow, I can't, I my words are just not coming out. Any sort of kindness or things of that nature are just not considered. People get upset and would just be angry and be toxic and just let it, like, so I don't know if you've played MMOs in the late 90s and the early 2000s.
I did, yes.
Okay, so did you notice a change, because we're talking about the toxicity and how the community can be toxic, and did you notice a change? Because I remember in the early 2000s there were MMOs I used to play where that sort of behavior wasn't tolerated by the community. It wasn't encouraged, it wasn't, but it seems to have shifted and is
It's
now.
gotten way worse. It's gotten really worse now, because now there's even people grouping up, just bringing down female gamers and stuff, or targeting a minority group.
Mhm, mhm,
Like, I don't even have chat on in MMOs anymore today because I don't want. Like, besides Guild Wars 2, Guild Wars 2 was a very chill, friendly community. They even
mm,
had an award for being the best community online. But I have seen
mhm.
so much negativity and toxicity that I have lost all interest playing those games because I just don't want to deal with the people. I would get, I mean, sometimes in the old MMOs, I would get a nasty DM and I said, what's your problem? They'd be like, oh, sorry. So, no, you have to grow up. And I would block them. And if you
Mm,
reported them, the GMs would actually ban them, which was nice. Nowadays, I just feel like nobody cares anymore. It's like it's cool to be nasty. I've even seen it on Discord. It's like you ask a
mm,
question and
mhm.
like, you should have known this, you idiot, blah, blah, blah. And even worse, the mods jump into it and do nothing.
I
They
know.
join bullying. It shouldn't be like that at all.
I know. I know. And it's sad that has become such a prevalent thing nowadays in these online communities. I mean, you're playing an MMO, which is literally a massive multiplayer online game, and you have to mute the actual chat because you don't want to actually talk to the people because they're just so disgusting.
Yeah.
It's such a, it's such a waste. Oh my goodness. Okay, so let's go back on track here because we can actually talk about that probably for hours because it's such a prevalent problem. But I did notice that the shift, because I remember there was one time I was playing a game and it was called Jumpgate, and I remember getting a solo kill. It was a PvP space dogfighting MMO. Great game, very old. I don't think it exists anymore. This was in maybe 2001. And I remember I got a kill and I just started talking to the dude saying, I got you. I didn't even say anything crazy. And I remember my squad leader, that's what they called the guild leaders at the time. came down on me so hard. He was like, "What are you doing? Why are you talking so much junk? Yeah, you beat him. Just control yourself. You know what I mean?" And then in comms, he actually pulls me to the side. We go in another channel. He's like, "Listen, that's not cool." Because I was young. I was in my 20s. You know, when you're in your 20s, you know everything. You understand all life.
Mm.
So you have all the answers. So I was a little annoyed that he pulled me in and was talking to me. He was telling me, "Listen, that's not cool, this and that." And I kind of I got it. You know what I mean? But the communities policed each other. You didn't even need a mod because if someone was a jerk, no one actually wanted to play with them. They didn't care that they were a top player. If they were just annoying to be around, guess what? No one was going to play with them, and that would kind of curb their enthusiasm, so to speak, in terms of getting so crazy. And now, I don't know. It's definitely, I agree. It's definitely a problem. The groups getting together though and jumping on people, that mob that mob mentality, I feel is so dangerous
It is. It
because
even happens in the streaming world, sadly.
yeah. And I mean with social media and everything. And it's a lot of it has to do with the anon on I can't say this word. Anonymity. What my wife is trying to
Yeah,
tell me and I
I
still
know what
said
you
it
mean.
wrong.
Anonymous. They think they're anonymous, but they're not. That's
Right.
the thing. You can
Right.
put some code in CMD or
Mm,
figure out where they are.
mhm.
I mean, I did that to somebody. Somebody was harassing me and my viewers. In the end, I found their Facebook profile. We contacted their parents like, hello, I'm sorry to bother you. Your son's been doing this. The parents went crazy on
Oh
the
my goodness. Are
person.
you serious? That's great. That's good. They need to calm it down. And if it's some kid, oh my goodness. Okay, let's continue on. So you've played, and I know you play a lot of these retro systems and games. You've played a lot of video games. What can you narrow down your one favorite video game of all time?
A lot of people are expecting me to say Sonic 3 and Knuckles because I'm a Sonic fan, but my
Mm,
top is Alien Soldier for the Mega Drive. I love that game for its flaws and because it is such a brutal game, but if you
mm.
keep at it, you get good at it in the end. That's one of my favorite games because that game was actually never finished. We got like a
Really?
quarter of what the game was supposed to be. Yeah, there were supposed to be 100 levels, way more bosses, a
A
proper
hundred.
story.
Wow.
But Nami, who was the programmer, ran out of
Hmm.
time
Hmm.
and they just had to ship it out before the Mega Drive was going to die. And I'm like,
Mm.
Nami, finish the game now! You're free! You no longer work for Treasure. Just finish it, please.
Oh my goodness. And imagine if he did and they were able to finish it and send it like on Steam or something, a port or something
I
like that. Wow.
would be so happy. I mean, I have many favorite game franchises.
Hmm.
I love
Hmm.
Zelda. I love Metroid. I love Sonic. But Alien Soldier, that typical game, has
Hmm.
a very special place in my heart because my mother gave it to me for the time for $5. That's how cheap it was.
Wow.
And she said, I'm sorry I'm late for work. Here's a present. I hope you enjoyed. And the game was tough. Now the
Mm.
game is worth like thousands of dollars or something insane.
Oh, I'm sure. A lot of those retro and people have actually been gracious enough to gift you some of those treasures, which I think is so amazing, which is so
Oh,
cool.
yes.
And
I
you
have a little wall of fame, so my plan is once I move a bigger space, I'm going to put every
Mm.
name on the person who gave me something.
Oh wow. That would be amazing. That would be I would love to see that. Take a picture of that. That sounds so cool. Oh my goodness. Wow. So do you have a gaming memory that you will never ever forget? It doesn't have to be with your favorite game, but just a gaming memory or even a streaming moment, like a one moment in gaming that you will absolutely never forget.
The day my mother introduced me to gaming when I was 2 years old,
Mm.
she started it all. I mean,
Metroid.
I will never forget that I think I was even in my nappies, or I think it's called diapers in the state. I was 2 years old and she said, let's play a game together. I mean, I will never ever forget the memory. And a new
Mm.
memory is when me and Araza played a game for the first time together called um oh hold on, I what's it, it's not Helsing, it's basically it's basically like a Diablo clone where
Mhm.
this guy has a cowboy hat. It's
Oh,
hold on,
it's on
I'll
the
log
tip
on
of
to
my
my
tongue as well. Oh my goodness, I know the game you're talking about. Yes. Yes, I know. Not Van Helsing. No, 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 no. Wow, I can't think of it. Oh my goodness. It's a multiplayer. It's a
Victor Ran. That's
mm,
the one, Victor Ran. I love playing that with Araza. Or when me and my husband played World of Warcraft together, that was also so
mm,
beautiful. Like that's
mhm,
like, I
mhm.
mean, we had a wedding in Stormwind, and all our friends logged on, including my parents, just to join in on the wedding, which was a joke. But they all joined. That was really nice.
That's so fun. Oh, so your parents actually played MMOs with you as well.
Yes, my mother still
Wow.
plays. My mother's a champion horse breeder in Black Desert Online. She has all the
No
legendary god
way.
horses. And she's like, Teresa, you should log in so we can play together. You can ride around my mounts if you want. And I mean, she's like top tier
That's so
gamer there. And people fear her, so they don't gank her. So when I'm terrified to play alone, she comes and I'll protect you. And
that's
people like,
hilarious.
oh crap, she's the daughter of that character. Okay, we will not touch her.
That is so good. Oh my goodness. She actually breeds the horses and she's known. She's at what? Oh my god. I'm okay. No, no, I won't. We don't have
She's
her consent, so
actually
I
in
won't.
the guild at the moment, and
Mhm,
I mean, it's just nice that she has way better gear than I do in the game, because I was one who gave her a tip how to make her characters better.
mhm,
2 months
mhm.
later, she's beaten me in my own game.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So Black Desert is her game. That's awesome.
Oh,
That really
yes,
is
she still
awesome.
plays it. If you see anyone from the Lorena family, that's my
Mhm.
mother. She has a character called John. Said she has many characters, but her family name is called Lorena. I think that's her family
Oh
name. So
my
if you
god.
ever
What's her
see
main?
her,
What does she mean
oh,
really?
she keeps switching.
Really?
John was a with DGONN. That was one of
Mhm.
her mains, but I think she switched to a different character now. I mean, she has all. She does. She plays all genders, so she has
Mhm.
some
Mhm.
males, some females. Like
Mhm.
it's so cool.
That's awesome. That's so awesome. Oh my goodness. I love hearing the stories because even in my own so just to give a little insight, the reason I game was because I used to see my father playing on the Atari. He used to play tennis with his brothers, my uncles. And then he used to play with me and we used to try to challenge each other's top scores. And then as I got older, he used to get upset that I still would play and which I never understood because I'm like, but you like playing too. Why are you mad at me? And I was a 90s I was a grade A student. I was an honor student all throughout elementary school, junior high school. High school is another matter, but it wasn't. I would go outside, I would play, and it was just this stigma behind it that I just never, even to this day, I mess with him and I say, "Hey, so I was watching. They had these games on these esports games. They're the esports people. They make like millions of dollars. Just I rub it in his face every time I talk to him. He gets so upset at me. But that is so amazing that your mom and your family still plays with you. Oh my goodness. All right, so let's go to this last question. This has been amazing, Teresa. By the way, I appreciate. I really appreciate this time. So
Oh, thanks
this
for having me.
so this last question, you understand the technology behind gaming and consoles more than most. So how do you feel the actual evolution of technology has impacted your own gaming experience in either a positive or negative way, but how has it impacted you really?
So the first generation, I think it's the sixth generation, let's say early 2002, all those consoles were amazing
Mm,
because I felt then the limitation gave birth to creativity. That's why I love retro as well.
mhm,
Like people
mhm.
like, okay, we only have so many bits of a CPU and a
Right.
motherboard, yada yada, RAM, bus speed, whatever. That's
Mhm,
how Alien Soldier was born. They were just messing with the limitation of the Mega Drive and making it do things it wasn't supposed to do. So I thought
mm,
all those limitations were great. But once we got to the PlayStation 3, 4, 5 era, developers got lazy. Suddenly, content that was supposed to be there's been removed for DLC. I
mm.
hate DLC. I
Yes.
hate these day one patches. Don't release a game if it's not finished. And people say, yeah, Nintendo's so old school. Well, look at Nintendo's game library. Yes, they're old school, but they at least test their games before releasing it. I mean, look at EA and Bethesda, for example. They don't care.
Yes, yes, I agree on that point. I've had very contentious discussions with friends about this subject. I said in and they say, "Oh, it's because they had to release the game because there wasn't a capacity for DLC." And I said, "Wait. No, 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 no. You can still release a fully fleshed out game and have a proper DLC that is an expansion to add, not have a DLC that is there to fix what you couldn't finish because you couldn't finish the game. That drives me insane.
Yeah.
Drives me
I
insane.
mean,
Yeah.
Nintendo are very honest. They say, oh, this game's going to have DLC, but we're going to create it after the launch, not before. We haven't removed any content. At least they're honest about it. But like BioWare with Mass Effect 3, oh, we're going to remove the alien, even though he was part of the main story, because we can pay $10 at day one.
I know. And that kills me. Then you have these battle passes that allow more content, and I'm saying to myself, "Wait, I'm paying for the full game, and then you're going to have a battle pass on day 1. This is
Yeah.
a day 1 battle pass that'll actually unlock the certain parts of the story. What is that? That's absurd."
I don't
But
like that system either. I like the always like how Blizzard did Diablo 2 with
mm,
the like many years later they made the
mhm.
expansion. That was brilliant.
Right.
That I can accept.
And it was a proper expansion. It added something to the game. It didn't it they did fix some of the issues, but it wasn't a crutch to bring the game back up. The game was already standing on its own and was doing well. It added to it.
Yeah,
You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. That's the way a DLC should be. That's the way an expansion should, in my opinion, in my honest opinion,
I agree.
because you have these games. You know who is a big someone who does this? Destiny. The Destiny 2 game, their franchise, I'm floored at how much they have. Like, I understand you like the game, it's good, it's an MMO, it needs expansions, that's fine. But they have so many, everything is so expensive on top of the base game. And I remember when it first launched, there were so many incomplete things
Mm.
that you saw were incomplete. And they were like, yeah, these will be done, and then when the expansion came, they added improvements when the reality was those weren't improvements. Those were things the game needed to have fixed that for whatever reason it was delayed and waited until I that drives me crazy. That drives me absolutely crazy. Oh my
And I get
goodness.
so angry when people are defending the video game prices today. They say, yeah, but in 50, like, let's say in the 90s, you paid a lot of money. Yes, but I got a complete game.
Right.
There
It
was
was
no way to upgrade
yes.
the game. I got what I paid for. Now, if I pay here, you won't believe it, but let's say Diablo 4 is over $90 here.
I know.
Base game.
Insane.
It's not
Ins-
even complete.
insane. Yeah, I played the beta the other
Same.
when it came out, and you want to hear something funny? Being legally blind and having the vision issues that I have, it has an actual built-in text to speech accessibility option. So when I hover over the item, it was reading all the stats to me that I could not see, which was amazing. I know it sounds silly, but that was absolutely amazing for me. But then when I go to I looked at the pre-order and I said, you know what? Let me see how much are the pre-orders. And here in the States, it was starting at 70 US. And I was like,
Whoa.
that is absurd. I said,
And
what?
people don't, and these prices are not balanced with today's people's wages. That's why the inflation is going down the
Oh,
drain. Products are going up, but people's wages are going down.
and it's not even a physical product. You're just paying for a download. It's not like
Yep.
you're getting a box because I remember before you would pay $80-$90 for a special collector's box edition, which I have. I have a few. I have Wrath of the Lich King and Mist of Pandaria's actual box editions because I was big into WoW a while ago, and I enjoyed having that. It's a collection item. You have it on your shelf. It
Mm.
looks nice. Even the box, everything. It's very artistic. Everything. It looks great. But you're paying all this extra money for what? You're not getting a physical. You can't hold it. You know what I mean? The game company goes bad.
If the server dies, it'll take your stuff with you.
That's it. The game is gone. Oh my goodness. All right. Wow. We've been talking for a long time. Mistress Teresa, I just want to say thank you very much for being a part of this. It was such a pleasure to actually learn more about you. I mean, hearing the history of why you game and everything was fantastic. That
Oh,
wow.
thank you for having me. I had a blast. I can't even believe that an hour flew by just like that. It feels
I
like two
know.
minutes.
I was I actually have a timer and I kind of been glancing away because I've just been talking and I looked at it and I said, "Oh no, we have to we have to start wrapping things up because this has been such a good conversation. Thank you very much." And I'm just so let me just wrap it up for those listening. So everyone that's been listening, just remember that you are awesome. Jesus loves you and Ganadora.